Some new pre-painted terrain we can get behind. Spiky Bits. Welcome back, hobby maniacs. I'm Baer from SpikyBits.com, and we are back with the latest releases from Gamemat.eu. They sent over a couple of mats and a couple of terrain sets. Their latest releases headed into 9th edition 40K, and they are great. Whether you're starting with a new tabletop surface, you're like, yo, I just need a mat. I just need, a few pieces of scatter terrain. Or if you already have a set of terrain from them and you want to augment it, this set is really good for you too. So let's jump over to their website and I can show you their latest releases before we jump on back to the studio and I'll show you what they look like all laid out. So if you're looking for really top-notch pre-painted terrain and mats to go along with it, I can't recommend Gamemat.eu anymore. I mean, we've been showing you their newest releases for the past 4 or 5 years, and you can see on the little leaderboard that's going across there, all their stuff is top notch. Like, I always get it and I'm just like, oh, this is dope. Just save more time to play instead of hobbying on your terrain. I really like that industrial terrain set for my Titanicus. Actually, I use it. It's not quite the right scale, but it works just fine. So some of their newest releases are the Rocky Base set, which kind of expands on another set that I've already showed you in the past, and we'll talk about that here in a second. And a new mat, a new double-sided mat, the 6x4 Lost World, and I forget what the other one is. I think this is... Oh, Sands of Time. Yeah, that was a good one too. So here's a look at that, and that one's pretty cool. It's a really brownish yellow, and the Lost World one is more of like a kind of an Eldar-y theme, like maybe if you're going for like Exodite or something, just like some temple kind of type deal. This mat is pretty dope. Now, you're probably wondering yourself, hey, I know it's 9th edition 40K, why do I want to buy a 6x4 mat? Well, first of all, when it comes to this stuff, there's a couple different ways to go about it, but you always measure from the center. So it's kind of good, if you have a 6x4 table already, just lay it on the mat and you don't see any like unsightly like bottom of the table or anything like that. I know my wooden table underneath my mat looks pretty terrible. So I'm still going to keep a mat on top of it regardless what other size mat I'm putting on it. And another good way to actually use just something laying around the house is get you a little low tack masking tape, some black masking tape, and just mask off. This is in a 2-inch increment. This you can actually use to mask off your borders perfectly. It's nice and dark, nice and matte. You can put all your accessories and things and even your dead piles and things over there, and it works just great. Now for the Rocky Base set, that is basically an expansion set. Now don't get me wrong, it's pretty dope in and of itself, just kind of by itself. And actually, I think there is a article on here on their site about, yeah, here it is right here. So they actually show you what the possibilities are for this set right here. So they've already run out of the initial shipment and they're waiting for a pre-order to come in. But here you can see all the different places you can actually fit models, which is really nice that they designed it with that in mind, because you look at these rocky outcroppings, you're like, man, can I really fit miniatures on there? But according to this diagram, you can. And then there's some examples of the renders, and then here's the prototypes. And this piece right here actually comes off. That you might have seen that particular piece in a set already, because they reused it. But it kind of clamps down to the top of here. Really neat if you want, or you can use it separately too, as just kind of like a little rune or something like that. But let's jump back to the product page. So here is the price, 135 euros, which I think it's like 1.8, so it's gonna be around 150 bucks. Whether you order stuff from the west coast of the US or from Gamemat.eu, it's probably gonna come in about the same amount of time. Now, COVID slowed everything down, but every time I order from them, I get it in about a week and a half through FedEx. It actually sits in customs a little bit longer than I would like, but a day or two there, and I still get it in a week and a half. I don't feel like that's too bad, and the shipping's on point for something coming from overseas too. So 135 euros for that. But then if you scroll down to the Badlands set, which is kind of the pairing for it, the natural pairing, and I'm going to show you that. I'm going to set that up on the table in the back and just kind of show you how it all looks. That's kind of the natural expansion for it. And let me explain why this is important too, in my mind at least. And it also looks like Gamemat.eu replaced their Hive walls. Now, we showed you their Hive walls back when Necromunda came out, I want to say in 2018. Gosh, it's really hard to remember when all these things come out. But I guess Necromunda's been out since 2018. I don't think it's been 17. It could have been 17. I'll have to fact check that one, or somebody leave it in the comments below. But they have redone their Hive wall set, where this walls are for Zone Mortalis terrain. It'll still work with the cardboard cutouts if you want, you know, if that's your thing, and you can kind of see right here that they all lay out perfectly on that right there as well. But the cool thing about this is it comes with like some rect sections right here, which I think is pretty neat. And let's keep scrolling through there. You can see some of the other images looking down the hall, but here's more on the set itself, which I was kind of hoping to scroll back to. So here's the set itself. Now, what's cool about this set is it comes with pretty much the same as the old set, like all of this stuff right here, but it also comes with these rect sections, and it comes with hatches and bulkhead doors too. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. It's kind of like an all-in-one type deal. You have rect sections, you have doorways, bulkheads. Now it comes pre-painted. You don't have to worry about, you know, spending all this time and effort putting it together and then painting it. It isn't quite as modular, and it doesn't have all the ladders and things like the Games Workshop set does, you know, for Dark Uprising. But that being said, it's pre-painted, ready to go on your tabletop, which speaks volumes to me in this day and age when I'm just trying to get some games in. So first up, I wanted to show you something real quick. This is a classic Mat and Cat, not Gamemat.eu Cat. But what I've done here is on a typical 4x6 table, I went ahead and masked it off just to kind of show you. This has been like this for, I don't know, quite some time now. And for the most part, you know, it stayed true. It looks really great, and it's very striking on the table. So don't worry about picking up or staying with a 4x6 sized mat, because you can just take some low tack masking tape and just kind of mask it all off and still play on it just the same. So that being said, we're going to take a look at the 4x6 double-sided mat we showed you on their site already, the Lost World and the Desert Sands mat. Now, all the mats that you're going to get from Gamemat.eu are going to come in this really cool case, so you know you can just kind of roll them up, throw them in this, zip it up. If you save the box, you can throw it in a box and store them upright, or you can actually hang these from a coat rack or from a hanger or something like that if you really wanted to, or just stick them in the corner of the room behind like your doors, what I do in a lot of cases. But quality wise, you know, as far as the double-sidedness, I think I want to say that's 8 millimeters right there. It's actually pretty thin when you see the print from both sides right there. And just to tell you how well they hold up, here's all of our studio ones right here. Some of these are 5 years old. For the most part, no wear, no tear, and believe me, plenty of beverages have been spilt on these. Now, here's the Lost World side all rolled out here. You can see at the corner, there is going to be a little bit of a flip up. This is the first time out of the bag for that, but if you leave it out overnight, you're not going to really have any issues with it. I mean, all of my other mats lay perfectly flat, especially the ones with a little tape on them there, so that would definitely help to weigh it down. As you roll them out over time, if it's something you're not going to leave set up, I don't think you have to worry too much about it. I haven't seen any issues with people that roll them up and roll them back down. I actually keep my 4x4 mat for Titanicus rolled up, and now I've played on it so much that when I roll it out, it lays perfectly flat. But here you can see some of the cool geometry and the cracked earth detail and stuff. Maybe some little, what are those, Eldar runes right there? Very cool detail on this table overall, and it'll blend in with, you know, if you want to use the Medieval Houses pre-painted set from Gamemat.eu, or you could even use like the, the Highland Terrain set, which is a really cool kind of yellow sandy type terrain that would go really good with this side of the mat. And here is the Desert Sands side. Now, I fixed the exposure a little bit to show you how really brilliant and rich this mat's color really is. It's more of a yellowy, kind of like a brownish sand type deal there, and I don't feel like it was coming through in the earlier video. So this is very true to color right here. This will work great for the Highland set or the Rocky Bases stuff that I'm about to show you. But either way, it's just a really nicely laid out set here with, you know, plenty of open spots and plenty of little bit of detail and some brush and rando ruins and just some different things on the table that really help to break it up, but also keep it pretty cohesive across the board as well. And here's a look at the new Rocky base set terrain, which is basically an expansion for the Badlands terrain set. It's only 5 parts, but you can see, you know, on the table, you know, when it comes to the table, it's not going to take up a whole lot of the table. But remember, keep in mind, depending on what level of 40K game you're playing these days, if you're using it for 40K, this might just be enough, this smaller terrain set right here. But this is basically an accessory set for the Badlands terrain set, which, I mean, you can tell on this tabletop, or this mat, it looks great. Like, there's all those flat surfaces like we saw in the renders, you know, where you can put your models on this. Even over here on these rocky outcroppings, there's plenty of room, of course, across the top right there. And then duders can actually fit, for the most part, in this corridor hatch right there, which is pretty cool to see too. Now, when it comes to, you know, this thing's pretty high actually. It's probably like 9 or so inches. So this will give cover to a lot of things or be obscuring. The bottom is, you know, completely closed off. It's got a little air hole or drain hole for it. It's not exactly hollow, but it's not exactly, you know, like solid all the way through. So it's kind of like a combination of both. But, you know, you don't have to worry about these things messing up the bottom of your mat or anything like that. And when it comes to this piece, I kind of like this piece the most because you can actually separate it. So technically it's a 6-piece terrain set, where you just have the top kind of plateau here in this crater, which, you know, this stuff looks good because you can, you know, put a tank up here or whatever, and it's kind of just like chilling if you really want to. Or you can put this and put some duders on it. What I thought was pretty cool is you might recognize this particular terrain piece. They actually took a render of it and shrunk it down from the Chem Zone. I think this was Chem Zone or Fallout Zone terrain set. So this is from another terrain set, but it's literally the same piece. They just shrunk it down to fit it on there. So overall, I think it's a great look, and you know, it's not going to fill up the table, but it's a nice pop and just enough terrain depending on the size game you're playing. And here's what it all looks like with a little bit of Badlands terrain mixed into it. That isn't the full set of Badlands, but you definitely get the idea of some of the stuff you can do with it right there. Still a little bit of space over here, but it is kind of all bunched together, and there's some more down in the box there. So great looking terrain set, and I can't say enough good things about the pre-painted quality of all of this. And then here's the 76-piece Hive wall terrain set, which is pretty cool. It's, you know, painted in a kind of a brush metal type look with like a bluish gray kind of surface right there. It's all resin kind of cast, very light, but, you know, once you put all these pieces on the table, or you carry it around, it's definitely going to be heavy. There's 5 of each door right here, which is pretty cool. You can get a size for scale from the Sentinel and the Death Corpsman right there. But you got long wall sections, short wall sections, kind of the middle bulkhead type deal, and then those doors right there. So we'll just kind of throw it together real quick and kind of set it up just to give you a better idea of the layout. But I think for the price, you know, compared to some of the unassembled and unpainted Hive type terrain out there, this might be the way to go. Now here's just a quick layout on the quarantine zone mat, which actually has some squared off areas right there that, you know, you can just kind of put the middle bulkheads on, and it gives you an idea of just what you can do. So with this mat, you can kind of do a little zone mortalis board. You can see all the extra components that just one little 2x2 section has allowed to still be left over. So you can really get probably like a quarter of a table set up with just the components in this box, which I think would be more than enough to do a skirmish type thing right there. But what I really like about this is, you know, all of the bulkhead doors are removable. You can use these center bulkheads to kind of break up any sort of middle section or anything like that, depending on how big of a room you want to make for any encounters. And then, you know, also dealing with some open air rooms, well, you could have these little wrecked kind of sections right there. And then if you really wanted to, you know, you could break things up with the smaller bulkheads right there too, just to kind of, well, excuse me, they go that way. But just depending on what you wanted to do, you could sandwich them between 2 of these, kind of like that, depending on kind of how you lay things out. But overall, I think it's a pretty neat little set, and especially with the add-ons like the bulkhead doors and the ruined wall sections right there, I think it's probably a better value and a better kind of version than the last one we saw that we reviewed here on this channel. I like the coloring of the last one a little better, but I can definitely see, you know, there's a lot more going on, a lot more features in here. So, you know, I feel like it's a good trade-off. So that's it for this one. We showed you all the new releases from Gamemat.eu for the summer of 2020. Now, next video, we'll probably show you some of the new table mat sizes and compare that to some of the terrain out there. But right now, we are some tired cats. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you head over to Gamemat.eu to pick up any of this new fresh terrain and check out their latest offerings as well. Oh, and before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can be the very first to check out all our videos.